Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's session on automating essential processes with Factorial. For those of you who are new, my name is Danielle, and I'm your official webinar host. I also see some familiar names here today, so welcome back, guys, to another Davin session. Okay, so I'm going to kick today's session off with a question. How often have you waited hours for a simple leave request to be approved, or wasted time and energy chasing down missing documents, or struggled to onboard a new employee with nothing but email threads and spreadsheets? I can imagine it's very frustrating. I mean, I'm not in HR, but if I were, I would be very frustrated by this. But I've got some good news for you guys today because that's exactly what we are going to cover. So we'll cover big pain points like employee onboarding, leave management, and document management. And we'll also cover some important stuff like compliance and how easy it can be to transition from your current HR solution to Factorial. So before we dive into today's demo, I have just a few housekeepings. Firstly, this session would run today for around 45 minutes, and it includes some really cool demos and a Q&A at the end. Also, if you have any questions throughout the session, feel free to drop them in the chat because we'll be answering them real time. If there's a question that requires a bit more detail, we'll save it for the end so that we can answer it properly. And finally, yes, this session today is being recorded and will be sent to all attendees in the upcoming days. So you can feel free to watch when you feel like or share it with your team. And also, very special mention, Davin is the exclusive Factorial partner in the Caribbean, and we are very proud and excited about that. So with that being said, let's get started. Today's session will be more is one of our awesome videos. Davin and Factorial guy. Also, we are joining them who is part of the team, and together they'll walk you through how Factorial works and exactly how it can transform the way HR team operates. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Umar to kick it off.
Good morning, everyone. And Daniel, thank you so much for that warm introduction. It's a pleasure to have everyone here. Whether you're joining us from local or abroad, welcome again. I'm truly excited to be here today as the Regional Business Development Manager for Factorial at Davin HR. It's our pleasure to welcome each and every one of you. Now, for those of you who might not be familiar with Davin, we have been the cornerstone in the technology solution landscape for over 25 years. And in those 2.5 decades, we have built a reputation for being the best at what we do. We really pride ourselves on understanding the unique needs of businesses and delivering solutions not only to meet but exceeds expectations. D, you could just switch to the next slide. So basically, essentially, what we're looking at is when we came to HRS offerings, we had extensive research and we asked ourselves really some pertinent questions. Why did we choose to partner with Factorial? And perhaps more importantly, why not choose, another solution? And the answer is really just really simple. Um, Quite simply, right? Is it that we always strive to partner with the best? And Factorial is precisely that, the best. Just as Davin leads our way in our field in technology solutions locally, Factorial leads the way in HR innovation. And Leon, who's our esteemed guest today, he will delve deeper into the incredible features and benefits that Factorial shortly. But for now, just know that the partnership is about bringing world-class solutions across to the Caribbean and to each one and every one of you. Now, here's another point of immense pride for us as Davin. Daniel mentioned early on that we are the exclusive partner for the Caribbean. Now, what does this mean for you? It means that you have direct access to a dedicated team, myself included, with deep, familiar understanding of both the Factorial platform and really specific nuances that the Caribbean business environment, bring to the table. We are your local experts that could help seamless implementation and ongoing support in expertise. Now, in closing, our partnership with Factorial represents continued commitment in bringing you cutting-edge solutions that drive efficiency, empower your people, and ultimately help businesses thrive. We're confident that, our relationship with Factorial and Factorial with us, can bring unparalleled experiences, expertise, and support, and be a game changer for your organization. So, with that, I thank you for your time, and I'll hand it over to Leon to tell you more about Factorial.
Hey guys, again, also thanks for the warm introduction, both Danelle and Umar. The idea here today is to contextualize you guys on the solution that we are offering, position that within the market, the main needs that we've been facing so far for the Caribbean clients that we've been speaking so far. So first things first, we listed here a few regulations and compliance issues that I'm sure as HR professionals, most of you already face. This is localized in labor acts, employee terminations, equal opportunity, anti-discrimination laws, things that are, in the end of the day, common challenges that everyone here, if haven't faced it before, will face at some point in your business career, right? The idea to show you here that this compliance aspect is just the implication to overall business management processes, right? They are very standard company to company. And what we saw so far is that in the SMB and the mid-market landscape, there are recurrent workflow challenges. They're very basic, right? We call them the core HR functions that every company will face or have faced before, right? Going through this digital transformation process. So everything related to your basic document management workflow, your onboarding process, and your day-to-day time management operations, right? So we listed here a few issues. They are very common in the SMB specifically landscape, but also affects the mid-market as well, which is scattered and insecure data storage, right? Having multiple different resources where to allocate data, or not having anything digitized, so only pen and paper, right? Actual file copies. I'm sure some of you already faced that before. That delays processes. There are daily routine of HR, like a job letter request, right? Whenever the employee needs to sign, they need to go there, or the document is spread out in different systems that will not, in the end of the day, streamline and save you guys time. So hours and hours invested on basically just signing paper, right? The same for the onboarding, where you need to involve multiple stakeholders here. Yes or yes, you're going to have your managers, your HR, sometimes the IT as well, involved in coordinating the steps. And also the approval flow for anything. We listed here the leave management because this is the basic day-to-day routine, right? Everyone will have employees requesting leave or letting you know that they're going to be out in a daily basis. But a lack of visibility is something characteristic across every industry in the SMB mid-market segment here. So what we are showing today, what we're going to try to show, it's going to be a brief demo on the core aspect of this platform that is designed exactly to tackle this basic operations, right? So centralizing and managing all your employee data, creating an actual single source of truth, right? For everything related to your workforce management, all the files, all the workflow approvals, and then the collection of signatures. So automating that, digitalizing that to be data compliance as well, not only following the legislations, but also being data compliance as well, data compliant as well. The onboarding process, because everyone will have to hire, everyone will have to onboard. So this is a very standard process for every other company. And the idea here is to show you how the product will consolidate this in the same flow that will create a data repository and also manage the approvals for your time off, your PTO requests, your sick leaves, your family reason absences, whatever it is that you guys have internally, together with your time tracking. So those are the basic foundational modules that we have to tackle, again, the basic operations that we're trying to consolidate in today's webinar. But this is a modular platform that tackles everything related to business management. So as any other horizontal platform, we divide this in modules for you guys to see. Again, today we'll be focusing on everything related to core and the basic operations that, based on the needs and the localization for the Caribbean market, we notice are the common issues that everyone has. But the idea here is to offer a product that is flexible enough to encompass more complex operations as well and grow with you guys. So you don't need to start with all the products. This is a la carte type of menu, and then you can add different processes to your HR operations as we grow. Ideally, in the end of the day, the main objective here is to create an actual HR that is not only doing paperwork, just doing, collection of signatures and chasing employees across the company, but actually providing business decisions, right? Providing with real-time insights for you, executives, for you, leadership, to actually make decisions. So consolidating all this data to generate reports and insights for you guys. Now, with that said, let me stop sharing this real quick. I'll start sharing my screen. I'm not I'm not gonna make this as a long demo. Again, we have 45 minutes across the whole thing. We also have a Q&A at the end. So I want you to do this as dynamic as possible. If you guys have questions, please put them in the chat. Then I'll ask you. We can do it live. I feel like it's more engaging. You can cut me off and ask the question right away. But yeah, guys, welcome to Factorial HR. This that you're seeing right here is the main interface of the product. As soon as you log in, this is the dashboard that everyone will see, either an employee or a manager. And what you see here is the standard display of the functionalities, right? As you see it here on my left-hand side, this is divided in personal, meaning the end user, whoever is the employee using this, and then different tabs here associated to the different modules that we have. So you have your core function here called company, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper on this today. Then you have our operations flow related to everything that impacts your bottom line, right? Your hours work, your hours not work, your PTO, your compensation management prior to payroll data. Your talent developments or your recruitment process, your performance reviews, your analytics for engagement, ENPS, and then we have finance products as well pair up with this. Now, again, for today's session, what I want to show you guys is the main functionality here and how this is synced, of course, to these main topics that are basically routine for every other HR professional, right? So as you see here, this is the HCM file of the platform. As I click on organization, this will give me the employee list here. This can be as granular as you want. Like we explained, we want to generate a compliant environment, an environment that you guys can easily define who is where, what legislations apply to them. So there is an ability here to filter and be granular information. So if you need to localize by different workplaces that you have, you might be having an operation in Trinidad and another one in Barbados, or another one in Jamaica that follows different parameters, right? The system will give you the ability to localize this way, be granular in this fashion. And automatically, we'll create an org chart, a visual work chart for you guys. So you can project your growth, see the different levels of employees here directly through the click, and if the demo allows me. Okay, as you see it here, directly sync to your recruitment process if you need to ask for requisitions, internal SOPs, right? So whenever I click this, this will link to a job opening vacant. So you guys can automate this as well. But the main thing here relating to the topic that we're approaching today is the ability to sum up all your files or your scattered documents or your scattered process into one single visibility, right? One single visualization. So this will sum up this employee profile for me. I can see the current upcoming time off. I can see their timesheet. I can see their goals progress, performance reviews, everything related to their basic information, even the salary continuity. If this person would have a raise, I would see here the difference. And this is all related to the information that we inputted within the system, right? So all the work details, all their information, the different legal entities, because the system is granular enough to come up with different parameters, we can localize the rules and the, let's say, the time off accrual that will fall under Alice as part of my Barcelona legal entity versus another employee in a different legal entity, right? Because let's say that this other employees in the Caribbean, right, where the policies will be very different. So I can modulate this across the system and delegate permissions group, different cost centers, and any custom information. And this is very key, right? So we can fit in any other industry agnostically, right? There is a custom field ability for you guys to parameterize as you wish. This will come up also with the agreements, the work agreements, following again the rules and the approvals as you guys wish, legal and labor, any other information that must be added, together with all the documents. So this is a compilation of all the files, all the information that these employees are going under. We're going to see the document file case in a second, but before I show that, I just wanted to highlight that the time off allowance, meaning this policy right here, doesn't need to be the same standard for everyone in the company. So if you, again, using the same example, if we have folks in Trinidad where the time off allowance, let's say accrue X amount of hours or X amount of days every period, and in Barbados is different, the system will accomplish that. You don't need to delegate universal allowances to everyone, and this is fully custom. Now, am I going too fast? Questions, thoughts? Should I stop for an intervention? I'm using only one screen, guys, so feel free to cut me off to know.
We
I see
actually have one
We have
question.
one question there.
Yeah, let me unmute Micah. All right, Micah, you're unmuted. Feel free to speak. You'll have to unmute on your end first.
Okay.
There we go.
Hi, Leon. Thank you for going through
Hi.
that with us. So I have a question, re the time off. So I know that you said that they can be set up based on the policies and I guess employment law, the country that they are placed in. But is it or can it be customized to specific employees? So for instance, at my company, for vacation, at supervisory and above, they do receive a different allotted time for vacation as opposed to the junior level staff. Would it be able to group those, or would we be able to set that up in terms of their vacation allowance?
Absolutely, absolutely. So just to use the example here as a generality, right? An idea to expand this to a more broader context. We're talking about some different difference in tenure and specifying this for one single employee. There is no limitation whatsoever in this sense. The system doesn't limit you in any amount of policies. So using ourselves as an example, right? We are an international company with over 1,000 employees, and we have probably over 30 time off policies because of the locations, the different locations that we have people. So if you need this localized to one specific employee, be my guest, the system won't block
okay.
you in that way.
Okay, got it. But it's not specific to location. It can be specific to the hierarchy, the organizational level of the employee.
Exactly.
Okay.
The system, I think that's a better way to define it, to generalize, right? The system won't enforce the SOP, rather adapt to your SOP. So whatever you guys do it internally, we're going to be able to adapt to that workflow, right? Well, of course, with restrictions that we need to study, but then this is a topic for a call with Umar, a full hour call to discuss your business, right?
Okay, sure.
But yeah, so this is a great way. Actually, before I show this, I like to make it interactive because this might be the point of attention for everyone. Just to show you guys in the settings, I'm not going to dive deep in this. This would take us too much. But just for you guys to see it, that every single module that we have here is a different tab on the settings. And we can go through this and customize exactly what you guys, Omika just said, right? The different time off policies, approval groups, block periods, even the absence types. What are they called? If they discount or don't discount time, if they need or don't need approval. This will all be set up during the implementation of the platform, during the deployment of the platform. And this is the same for everything that I go here. If I type performance, if I type time tracking, and even the permissions, right? Because this is a topic very important for us to keep the compliance as flexible as we want to enforce it, keep you guys automating this to focus on the strategy, right? So permissions group can also be custom. Who needs to approve what, who needs to see what within the platform can be also custom as you guys see it. Not going to click on this bells and whistles in depth, but just for you guys to understand the whole context here, right? And then the document file case. This is something that I wanted to highlight. The system will give you the ability to manage your entire document flow automatically, right? With automations across here, digitize the whole thing. So I can differentiate public documents, documents that the whole company have access if I want, private documents, right? Companies that only specific based on the permissions that we set. A specific group of employees have access. All the employee files will be listed here. Of course, you can find them individually in the file that I showed before. But the most important thing here is the ability to distribute these files, right? So you can have multiple document templates here and cut off your pay slips, for instance. So in the Caribbean, just like in Latin, a very common workflow is the job letter requisition, right? So you can have your job letters added as templates to the platform. So every time that you need to submit that, you don't need to physically fill the signature will be digitized because you can simply distribute these files, use one that you have as a template here. As you can see it, I added just before this webinar, a job letter form that I found it online. And you can add to this different variables, right? This ideally will cut off the whole friction and the process of you guys needing to check out. They need to open different tickets in different platforms and create single visibility, right? As soon as you send this, the employee gets notified. The end user always get a notification. This is a mobile app and everything shows up here. So everything that I need to approve, if I'm a manager or if I'm an employee, I need to sign, will be notified here. The system comes with a full PDF reader for you guys to sign virtual documents as well. The most important thing as far as automation will come within the workflows. So the onboarding, the idea is pretty much the development of the file that I just showed you guys, right? So we can add different documents to the platform and have them as templates, documents that are recurrent, add different variables as the fields that the employee needs to fill in or the manager needs to fill in. And then we can add those templates to different workflows. We can have a custom workflow for job letters, I don't know. But the standard workflows here, I'm going to show you just a sample, which is the onboarding, right? You guys can create every task, whatever is the task, who is submitted, who's assigned, and visualize the whole process, right? So if I go here on onboarding, I'm going to click create a new one, webinar onboarding. This will give you guys the ability to add every single step, every single task that are part of your workflow to onboard a new employee, and then add the documents that need to be signed. They're already added. They were already added to the platform as templates, right? We're going to do this together during the deployment of the tool. And then you just need to add who should complete this task. If it's the new hire, if we need the manager also to include the signature, if this is for IT, I don't know what is the step. If we need to attach documents, the system will give you the ability to use all the templates that you add and have them filling out, signing, whatever you guys need them to do in that specific document, right? Once this is settled, this workflow is fully established, then it's a full automation for you guys. All you guys need to do is to add the employee. So every time that you're starting a new person, you click on the button, add a person, and then name. I'm going to put an email here. Gmail, the name, and that's it. Everything else here, personal details, work details, agreement info, this will be part of the onboarding process, right? For them to fill out or for the manager to fill out. So we can skip that. I just need to say that, hey, Leon will start today. Now the system will give me the ability to add them to this onboarding space, to this workflow that I just activated. So the different stakeholders that will get notifications will be included, and I just need to select the proper one. The system, again, won't give you a limit on as many as you want to create because probably will be different, the onboarding process for employees in a certain location or if with a certain seniority, a certain type of contract, that employees in different situations, right? So I can see whatever template fits my boat, floats my boat better, and I can send that to add the person to the workflow. Now, this will be all done for the cell phone, everything digitized, so the employee can sign the paperwork for their phones and see all the notifications, not only in the welcome space itself, but also on the email that is associated to the platform, right? Again, time for questions, thoughts. I'm not checking the chat, guys. Now, you should cut me off if needed, okay?
Okay, no worries. No questions.
Okay, the last thing that I want to show you today, just to give a taste on the overall platform, is the leave absence process, a little bit more in depth. We already took a high level view of this, but just for you guys to see it, that what we're doing here as a UI UX perspective is to empowering your employees to do that in the easiest possible way. It should get live notifications. The thing that we're gonna do that for you guys to see it in depth, we're going to need a demo, is to set up the parameters, right? How they accrue time off, how the policy actually works, if this is accrue every month, every week, every hour, I don't know. However they need to do it. And then the employee will come on their personal tab, the things that relate to them, and they will add this time off. I typically do this for my phone app. I can see how many hours or days I accrue, how many hours or days I have available, I took, and then I can just click on it and add my time off. I will have all the labels for whatever discounts time or whatever needs approval or whatever doesn't discount time and doesn't need approval according to my company policy. And the system will always flag if this request is overlapping with other people. So this is a way for you guys to reinforce policies like, hey, here internally we have this. No more than X amount of people can be out in the same time in the same department. That's a policy. That's an easy way to reinforce. The employee doesn't even need to ask. He knows that's going to be denied because it's not not complying with the policy, right? You guys as managers will get all the notification flow here. So every time I see here Isabel requesting time off, I can click it on it and I can see the request, exactly her policy, what it is. If this is overlapping, and I can delete, accept, or whatever it is that I need to do. If I don't want to accept this, Isabel shouldn't get this time off. I can just delete that, deny that.
We have one question, actually, two. So Maria is asking, how do
Okay.
leave balances accrue in the system? For instance, an employee with 15 years service leaves 28 days vacation. Does your system cater for this?
Yes. Again, Maria, I feel like this would probably, in the depth of the functionality, require a more solid call towards this. Let me show you that just the allowance here on this setting up the parameters. This is how we're going to go together during the deployment to set up the policy exactly how it should be. So however you guys have your accrual, if this is in days or hours, if it's in hours, how should we display? Do you have base allowance hours? If a public holiday falls on the absence, what happens? Do you have carryover settings? How does your tenure period work? So stabling up the tenure, I can set up, add a new tenure here, exactly how you mentioned. So everything will be catered during the deployment towards your business, which is an important thing, an important disclaimer to make, right? This is an SMB tool, so designed for small and medium companies, designed for mid-market companies. But it's although it's an out-of-box tool with a consolidated design, different than a bigger ERP that you have to program, develop. This is already settled. The tool is very flexible. So when it comes to the parameters, the rules that the system will follow to deliver the functionality, that's very, very flexible and will be tailored together during the scope of work, during the deployment. We're gonna map out this all together and deliver the way it needs to be, right?
Great, thanks. We actually have two more questions. Micah, I'm going to unmute your mic so that you can ask your question. 1 second. Oh, okay, you can go ahead and unmute.
Okay, so Leon, my question is relating to time and attendance. So my question has two parts. First part, so I saw that we can see, the amount of time that an employee is clocked in. What I want to understand is, does your system integrate with a specific clock for clocking in? Is it something that is actually yours, or is it outsourced? also, I wanted to ask about that also ties into payroll. When it is that an employee obviously uses the clock, so they clock in their regular 8 hours or maybe a few hours in overtime or whatever that would be, does that translate directly into their timesheet so that payroll can use this to pay?
Yeah, that's a great question, and also revolves on something that we always say. The idea here is because you're gonna have so many inputs, all the inputs, to be fair, that will be impactful in your bottom line. So if you change any contract, changes in compensation, bonuses, time off, hours work, all of this that encompass the pre-payroll process, the idea is that the system will consolidate a big report that you can fit in different providers. So whatever is your payroll provider, we're gonna assess how the report should look for your specific business flow and deliver that report for you guys to automate the payroll process. Might not be easy at first, depending on whatever tool you guys use. We already saw some very complex different business cases, but so far we've been able to deliver quite well. And sorry, I missed the first question. There was two questions at once. I forgot the first one. Sorry for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the time and attendance aspect of things, where it is that we saw that we
The
can apply for the
physical,
time off, right?
the physical
Will
clock.
that, yeah,
So yeah, biometrics can be offered for the platform. We're not a hardware, okay? So we don't have a hardware ourselves that we sell.
okay.
We are only the software for companies up to 8 employees. So from 1 employee to 80 employees, we have internally our own biometric system, which is facial recognition. You can put your faces in front of it and clock in like that. This feature is deprecated because of a tendency in the industry. People are not typically aiming for that due to AI. I feel like that's, again, it comes without saying the explanation here. But this is something that we still deliver. Now, for biometric clocks, we do have preferred vendors that we integrate with. And
Okay.
again, this will be a conversation for a sales call, but we work with specific partners localized in the Caribbean.
Okay, got it. Another part to my time and attendance question. So we are able to see whether they are clocked in or not. And we did see that we could apply for the time off, if it was vacation or whatever that would be based on whatever policy that is developed. Can an employee apply for that time? Let's just say that I am sick today and I apply for that time. Will that directly communicate to my timesheet?
Yes, that will directly communicate. Once it's approved, will communicate to your timesheet. Yes.
Okay.
Before we
You
move
guys,
on, we have one more question from Nikisha. Nikisha is asking, can you generate a report for each employee on leave taken throughout the year?
yes, that's already inbuilt in the platform, so you don't even need to do anything. Just click on it, and it'll show up for you to your topic for a demo call. But yes, that's inside the platform already set.
And there's one more. I think Maria had a question that just came up there. She was asking, can our IT team build reports from your system, such as an SSRS report? And is your database SQL Server database? Just to expand on that a bit.
Yeah, SQL Server database, yes. And then SSRS reports that will need to be assessed exactly what you expect with this. I want to say yes. Like my question, my answer to that without seeing the report is yes. But of course, we're never going to be the type of vendor that says yes to a thing that we haven't seen it yet. So in thesis, yes, there's no limit there. The system allows you to create custom reports with SQL Lango. So if you guys are familiar with, if you have a team that does that, then that will be easy, bread and butter. And yes, we have an open API, public API that you can even check online if you want. Factorial API will already pop up for you. Now, few things, guys. I feel like we need to. I'll stop sharing the demo right here. It's interesting that we have a lot of questions. I love that. Let me share this. Should we follow, Danelle, help me here. Should we go for the questions at the end? What do you think? I feel like we can get back to the
Yeah.
questions all at once,
Yeah, we can
right?
save our questions for the end so we can continue with the demo for now.
Okay.
But guys, feel free to post your questions in the chat and we'll target them all at the end.
Okay, so for now, I'll wrap it up just explaining a few things about the services we're providing And I'll localize a little bit for you guys to have more context with different players that you probably already heard about it. And then we can wrap up with questions. Again, the idea today was just to give you a taste of what it looks, what it can do. And then we can attend one by one in an hour meeting, understand your business specifically, how and if we can fit in your current structure, right? But yeah, after you look the demo, we go through the sales process. Umar will be handling this, doing the whole consultative process, understanding how that will look. Then we go through the deployment, right? The great thing about having this in a partnership is that Davin themselves will be able to implement this. We have the whole Factorial team backing up. So you're going to have on our end account managers, product experts, and assistants during your deployment, right? The account manager is for life. We don't charge you guys for the service. So as soon as you get through your implementation, you're going to get an assigned account manager, and you can always refer to this person. The structure rollout can vary, but we call it onboarding more the implementation. If you guys are familiar with ERP deployments, you know that it actually is an implementation where sometimes you even have to develop localized features. In this case, this is an out-of-box tool. So the good thing is this is fast and way easier than implementing an ERP. So typically we go through 6 to 8 weeks. Of course, depending on the use case and the size of the company, this can last long, but this is our average cycle for the deployment. Everything in an hour session, so it's knowledge transfer. We're going to help you guys to understand the system, set up the parameters, and input the data to the platform. And if needed here, just to address the open questions, we can do this with APIs. Of course, it comes with an extra cost if you want our team to deliver, but we can deliver as well API implementation. Oh, sorry. And then the hands-on setup, right? So again, this is knowledge transfer. So during the setup, we are teaching you guys how to use the platform through the full scope, right? All the permissions, all the modules, the time off, performance reviews in case. And then we go until we get to your first payroll cycle in the go live to help you with the prior payroll. So all the data that will impact your processing of payroll. Now, we've been working in the Caribbean so far together with Devin for 8 months. And this is one of the main providers that we seen out there in the market. I thought it would be interesting compared to HR Plus, which is a very enterprise tailored type of tool, right? And the biggest differentiators are listed here. I just want to go through it quick. But they all revolve in the same issue, right? This is a new gen tool, right? Factorial is a modern, worry about UI UX type of tool, where their HR Plus, although very powerful to process your payroll, is an outdated sort of early 2000s design type of tool, right? The idea here is that the workflow automation will be way more flexible, less static, whereas HR Plus is already established, understand the market, has settled capabilities. We do have a lot of flexibility to work with the specificality of our business. We also do reporting through AI. We're big betters in AI. Like I said, we are a new gen tool. So of course, you will hear about AI. This is integrated with your Copilot as well. So if you want to use Copilot, the platform allows you this. And this comes to the main point of this presentation, right? Because we are working with Evan for a reason. We are also a Microsoft first company, natively connected with all their main products, all the business applications, the ERP. So all the information flows to your ERP, Business Central, automatically, and to your Copilot as well, in case you guys decide to buy the best AI tool out there in the market. Pricing as well, of course, since this is an old legacy player in the region with enterprise capabilities, of course, they are typically way more expensive than us based on everything that we saw so far. And then another one that I thought that would be interesting to quote you guys to mention, and this was going to be a little bit faster, is HiBob, which is a provider, a foreigner provider, Israeli, very common in the US one, that we heard about it before a few times in our calls, me and Umar. And this is more bread and butter, right? HiBob is also a new gen tool comparable to us with also international presence, but the main difference is the flexibility of the product itself. We have an open API system, and our main growth right now for everything outside of Europe is coming through partners. So that already localize our product way more and gives workflow automation, customability that HiBob doesn't give. That's been the main things that we're seeing so far, whether they don't have any an ATS and an expense module embedded, and this gives us a little bit of feature advantage. They are a great tool. The most important thing that they don't deliver, that we deliver, is the actual localization, the ability to fit in different market structures. They are very US prone as a product, right? And yeah, these are a few things I'm sure Umar will share with you. We already reached the mark that we have over 10,000 clients. Actually, this is a little bit up at this point. I think we're 15K companies working with us right now. Some of the evaluations we got listed at top 3 emerging startups in 2022. And the link at the end that I want to leave. Now, Q&A, questions, thoughts. I see in the chat that we have a few ones that we haven't addressed. I see one here, but I'm gonna let you organize this, Danelle.
Okay, no worries. So we have one question from Uber, right? Can it be automated for applying for leave to alert multiple people for if multiple people need to approve a type of leave?
Yes, the approval groups can be custom horizontally and vertically, meaning if you need layers of approval, like multiple people approving, it can also be like that. If you just need visibility, it can also be the same way. Can appraisals and signing of contracts be done directly on the platform? Yes, that's the intention, main intention here. Let's not sign somewhere else. Let's stop using DocuSign.
Any more questions, guys? Now is the time to ask them. So if you can't think of any questions right now, but something pops up later on, you actually wanna, we have a question from Maria before I move on.
Maria, yeah.
So Maria, I'm gonna unmute you. All right, so you can feel free to unmute and ask your question. You have to unmute before you speak. Okay?
I think it's what about integration with GL? GL is
probably an error with her system. Okay, so what about integrations with the general ledger?
yes, but I feel like the ideal here to not just say yes randomly would to be to know what is the general ledger, right? Is it internally built? Is it an open API system? Did you guys buy it externally? And then yeah, synced.
I'll give her a minute to respond to that one, and we can go on with. So she asked if 2 to 3 incomes can be tracked at the same time on the platform.
That's a workaround. So not from the agreement standpoint, but for the project standpoint, yes. So let's say that this employee works by the hour, and the different hours. Let's say that he has 3 functions, right? And he works 5 hours in one function, 5 hours in the other, and 5 hours in the other function. This can be differentiated, the payment rates for these different functions, not per contract in the agreement tab that I show you in the core functionality, but in the project management where we manage this different type of tasks that employees are involved. Then
Cool.
the
So
question about
question.
Then the question
from
about
Uber.
Dynamics General Ledger is a strong yes. How does Factorial
That's
integrate?
Factorial. Yeah.
What would a user need to create one? E-signatures will be done for the employee profile. So it's a core functionality. We do it for Signature It, which is a licensed signature recognized by Microsoft. We do it for them. It's their technology white label in our system. They just click on it and sign. Like I sign my pay slips like that. I sign all my paperwork like this. And this goes automatically to the file case the HR designated.
Right. Question. Does your system have a payroll processing option? Is it linked to the leave module?
Great question. No, we don't process payroll ourselves, and that's specifically because we are an international company, right? So rather as a strategy to not need to not have a very expensive product to do EOR, because that's what we need to do international payroll. We localize the product in a flexible report generator where you can extract the data prior to payroll and input that in whatever payroll provider you guys have. Now, the idea is to have this also through Dynamics. There's develops in that end, so for Dynamics to actually process payroll as well, right, Umar?
Hmm.
That would be
Yes. So
already
with
embedded.
integration to my Dynamics, sorry, Microsoft Dynamics GP, our Davin team would facilitate it, but we would work together with Factorial to make it as seamless as possible. So yes, it can be integrated with Microsoft Dynamics GP.
And the software is cloud-based, Owa. We are currently storing on Amazon Web Services, migrating everything to Azure.
Okay, I love the questions, guys. Keep them coming. We have a few more minutes before we leave. So if you have any more questions, now is your chance. If you prefer to unmute, you can just raise hand and I'll.
Hmm. And just to reiterate, the QR code on the screen for those who, a lot of the questions have been coming in. I would recommend it's a direct book-in form for me personally, so you can just hop on there, and or I will send my email should be in the chat itself, and you can reach out to me directly, and we could schedule a more in-depth session where any of the questions you have, particularly your own company side, we can help, identify and how we could showcase Factorial to assist in those areas.
Yes, and also be reminded that we'll be sending the recording to all attendees so you guys could review on demand as well as the deck. So we'll also send you guys the deck so you can review the content. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to either Omar or myself and we'll get
Mm-hmm.
you set up on a meeting.
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay, so if that's it for questions, Umar, Leon, any final words, anything else to add before we close?
I would just
Um,
personally, I mean, just to step in first, to thank everyone for joining us today. Especially the questions. It has been very insightful to understand where each of your mindsets are and maybe some of the challenges that you guys are having. Um, and thank Daniel, Leon, and all of the other members here today. Just a personal thanks for me. What about you, Leon?
Yeah, I was gonna say pretty much the same. Just thank everyone's presence here, and to highlight that it's been a presence, a gift. It's been a bless to be working with the Caribbean region right now. We localize the product way more starting 2025, doing this strategy of growth for partners, and Davin has been proof a very successful one for us. So it's great to have you all here. I think that's a testament. And ready to see a few of you in a demo soon.
Thank you, Umar and Leon, for the session. And thank you, everyone, for joining us and giving us an hour of your time for this. So, as I mentioned before, you guys can just scan the QR code with your phone and you'll have options to book whether a 15-minute meeting with Umar or if you want something a bit longer, that's available as well. If any questions pop up throughout the week, you have my email address, you have Umar's email address, and we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Most definitely.
Yes, so one final check, no more questions in the chat, so we can close off for today's session. Again, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we look forward to seeing you guys in the future. Take care.
Have a good one, everyone. Thank
Bye
you.
bye, guys.